The newly appointed British Prime Minister, Theresa May, will visit Northern Ireland today to discuss the upcoming Brexit and its repercussions. Before leaving London, May noted that Northern Ireland is a special and valued part of the UK. We turn to our London correspondent, Jonathan Sacerdoti, who's a valued and special part of I-24 News, for more information. Jonathan, what's expected during her visit to Northern Ireland?
So Theresa May arrived in Northern Ireland in Belfast about half an hour ago, and she's there to reassure the First Minister of Northern Ireland, Arlene Foster, that there will be no return to border checks for people entering the UK from the Republic of Ireland, despite Britain's vote to leave the EU. That's part of the promise she's making them, because particularly this is something that worries them. And also, we can't forget that Northern Ireland, like Scotland, voted against leaving the EU. But despite that, the majority of the vote across the whole of the United Kingdom was to leave. And Theresa May, having represented the Remain camp during the campaign, now Prime Minister, says Brexit means Brexit, and she's going to make it a success. So part of making it a success is speaking to all the different parts of the United Kingdom and finding a negotiating position that will satisfy all of them. And to that end, Northern Ireland is the last of the four that she's visiting in just the first 2 weeks of her premiership, showing how important she finds that.
And indeed it is. And there were talks of United Ireland maybe becoming a reality. Is that in the works?
Well, she said that the UK's exit from the EU must work for Northern Ireland too, including in relation to the border with the Republic. She said, we will engage with all of Northern Ireland's political parties as we prepare for that negotiation. So she's really expected to support the idea that there should not be a hard border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, something that she feels will satisfy their needs not to try to alter the union of the United Kingdom. But this will make regulating immigration into the UK difficult, or impossible, some have said, because there are no checks when people come from Ireland to the UK. And that means that the UK will be left with an open border between the UK and a country that is actually still within the EU, meaning that it will be very difficult for her to deliver on the promise of limiting migration from the EU.
I must say, it does not sound like the United Kingdom is very united.
Well, this is one of those things that's testing the unity. And while Scotland had a referendum not long ago over whether or not they would remain part of the United Kingdom and narrowly decided that they would, Nicola Sturgeon has just been speaking now and saying that Scotland has a democratic right to be somehow respected in its desire to remain in the EU. And that was one of the reasons, she said, many Scottish people voted to remain in the UK, because they'd been told that if they left the UK, they would have to reapply to be a member of the EU. Now, this means that this division among the different nations of the United Kingdom is something that's going to be very difficult for Theresa May in her positioning for the negotiations of Britain leaving the EU.
What would you define as a success for her during her visit?
Well, so far, in terms of optics, she's doing the right thing, because she's made sure she's visiting all the different nations, and she's doing it within the first 12 days of her premiership. So to start with, she's showing that she is taking this very seriously. Then she needs to get some sort of agreement while she's in Northern Ireland that whatever position she does take will be something that they get to look at and approve, let's say, just as the other nations will want to as well, including Scotland and Wales. Everyone has to feel happy with the position she's going to take when she does trigger that all-important Article 50, which starts the 2-year negotiation process with the EU. Just how she's going to manage that is going to be a real test of her ability as the Prime Minister.
Jonathan Sacerdoti in London, thank you so much.